Welcome back, guys. Today we will be doing Advent of Cyber 3 and of course day 12, which is the last task that has been released. So the title is Sharing Without Caring, and in this task we will be exploring how to interact with the network file system. A network file system is a protocol that is used to transfer files between machines, specifically Windows machines, or between Windows and Linux machines. So we're going to learn how to spot a network file system, and we're going to learn how to interact with it and enumerate it. So throughout the task, we will be answering the questions where every question corresponds to a specific milestone throughout your testing. So I have launched the attacking box here, and I did an initial nmap scan. Make sure to disable the ping discovery, because since you're scanning a Windows machine, ping discovery will not work and most of the ports will appear offline. So we put -pn to make sure that we are telling the machine that we don't want to ping you, and -sv to reveal details about every service discovered. So upon scanning, we can see we have around 7 open ports. Now in this machine, we are concerned about enumerating the network file system. So once we see Mount D under service and the corresponding port is 2000 or 2049, it means we have a network file system or network file share. So in addition to the other protocols which indicate that we are dealing with a Windows machine, so from the the version of every service. So we all the time put -sv to make sure that we reveal details about the service. Of course, the version is important. We look always to find out about the version. This is out of the scope of this task, but I'm just mentioning this as a side note. All right, so we have network file share. So in order to understand the structure of this network file share, we use a command called show mount --exports, and we specify the IP address of my targets. Here, what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to enumerate the network file share, see what are the shares established on this host. So basically I have a /share, I have a /admin files, /my notes, /confidential. These are the network shares running on the target. So that's the first step in enumerating the network file system. The next step is we mount every single one of these shares to our local system. So while we do that, we want to explore and enumerate and find out if there are sensitive files in there, something we're interested in finding. We might be stumbling upon something we were looking for while we enumerate the machine. So that's why we always mount these shares to our local file system. So basically, see where we are right now, which directory we are, /root. Now let's make a directory called make directory, and I'm going to name it local shares. So after making the directory, let's make sure the directory has been created. So we have now local shares. Let's see where it is. Local shares. Here we go. Let's see the local shares now. Okay. Now the objective is to mount, as I said earlier, every single one of these shares to my local directory. So basically, before doing that, let's first answer a couple of questions. The first question is asking how many open ports do we have. We saw we have around 7 ports. The next thing is, in the scan results you received earlier here, it's asking what is the port in which the NFS file share is running. It is 2049, and in there, after we found out how many shares we have. How many shares did you find? We found around 4. Now, how many shares show everyone? Let's check that out. So 1, 2, 3. It means who are the intended audience, or who are the persons that can see or interact with the share. As you can see, everyone. So the number of shares is 3. Okay, now let's go back and mount every single one of these shares. So basically, after I answer these questions, we're going to skip to the next section where we interact with the shares. So now we type mount followed by the IP address of the target, and then we specify the share we want to mount. So basically, we're going to start with /share, and then we specify the destination directory on our local file system on which the files or to which the files will be transferred. So we're going to type local shares. I'm going to have to specify the full path. So ls, still we got nothing. Let's now mount the other shares. So after /share we have admin files, access denied by the server while mounting admin files. So it seems that admin files we cannot mount that to our local file system because access is denied. So it must be there is some sort of authentication on that directory, which is actually the case. That needs to be all the time, which is actually the case that you need to stick to whenever you create network file shares. You need to enable authentication permissions for every share. You cannot just let the share discoverable by everyone, mountable by everyone, right? The next one is, let's mount my notes. Also access denied for that share, and lastly confidential. So upon listing the files, we have, as you can see, we have 2 new files arrived to the local shares. So let's now cat or display the contents of every file. 132. We start with this file. We have long text in here. Okay. Now the next file we have on the list is 2680-0. So ls or cat 26. And still also we have a long text to go through. All right. Okay. Now let's see what do we have here. So there are 2 text files. We can open the file using any text editor such as Nano or something quicker. What is the title of the file? 2680. Okay, let's open the file using Nano then and find out about the title. The title is Meditations. It seems that Grunch Enterprises has forgotten their SSH keys on our system. One of the shares contains a private key used for SSH authentication. Okay, what's the name of the share? So you want to find out what is the name of the share that contains a private key. So let's go back to the machine and see here. Maybe the private key is lurking somewhere here in this text. It's like searching for a needle on the haystack, but we're not going to do that. You can just anyway, since it's clear that we need to look for a file called IDRSA, we're gonna do ls again. Okay, so currently we only have the files that are mounted from /share. So for some reason the files from the /confidential are not coming to my local folder. So I'm gonna cd back and create a new one. Make directory, let's say local shares v2, and then cd to local shares v2. Okay, now we're gonna mount /confidential to this directory. So ls, now we have ssh. So it's clear that /confidential is the name of the directory. Now we can calculate the MD5 sum of a file using MD5 sum file name. What is the MD5 sum of IDRSA? Okay, let's now cd in SSH So indeed we have a private key file called IDRSA. Now we're going to calculate the MD5 sum of that file, MD5 sum IDRSA. So this is the value of the MD5 sum. And that was it for day 12. Easy, simple, and not complicated. And that's how you interact with a network file system, or you enumerate it, but of course in a very basic and easy level. Now there are some other rooms where there is an extensive knowledge about network file system and how to enumerate and interact with it. So basically I'm gonna put down in the description the link of the walkthrough I did on the network file system. And if you, of course, if you need more research on that, you can still do that on the internet, or you can just watch my video on that. So that was for today, and see you in the next video.